Both boss fights in the Reckoning are easily the hardest boss fights in Black Ops 6 Zombies, and bringing in the wrong loadout weapon can literally be the difference between life and not completing it. So in this video, I'm going to go over the 5 best weapons to use in these boss fights, including the meta loadout and the meta augment, so you can absolutely destroy SAM and Richtofen on your next attempt. If you find this video at all useful, let me and YouTube know by clicking the thumbs up button down below and subscribing, as I got you. Jumping straight in, one of the most important foundations to beat either boss is to have the correct augments on. And these are the specific augments you want to run for these bosses. Starting with Stamina Up, you want to make sure you have the Stalker Major Augment equipped so you can walk faster while ADSing, particularly useful for Richtofen, as well as the Hot Foot Minor Augment. For Juggernaut, I highly recommend the Probiotic Major Augment to give you extra health, so if you get zapped in either boss fight, the extra health is going to come in clutch. For Minor Augment, you want to run Hardened Plates, which gives your armor plates more damage mitigation. For Speed Cola, you want to run the Classic Formula Major Augment and the Quick Swap Minor Augment. This one isn't essential, but I do recommend for Depth Perception you get the perk and add the Critical Eye Major Augment, as it will help you out throughout the game. For Minor Augment, you want to run the Bird's Eye View. PhD Flopper, you need to have the PhD Slider Major Augment on and the Tribologist Minor Augment, as this will give you the fastest movement speeds across both boss fights, which you will need. Double Tap, you must run the Double Standard Major Augment, where all non-crit does double damage, as well as the Double Time Minor Augment to increase the fire rate of all your weapons. For Elemental Pop, you want to have the Citrus Focus Major Augment on and the Venera Bean Minor Augment. Moving over to ammo mods, for Cryo Freeze, you want to have the Ice Cloud Major Augment equipped and the Liquid Nitrogen Minor Augment. This is the ammo mod I recommend in the boss fight, especially for Richtofens. And finally, for Ether Shroud, you want to have the Burst Dash Major Augment on, but it is essential that you have the Extension Minor Augment on. Without this, it won't be possible to get one of Richtofen's phases down solely using a Ether Shroud. Now we've got all of that out the way, let's now move on with the first weapon, and without doubt the best weapon in the game for both boss fights, and that is the Maelstrom shotgun. However, there is 2 different builds depending on what boss you're taking down. If you're taking down Richtofen, then this is the loadout build that you're going to want to run, which is the CHF barrel, Ranger 4 grip, extended mag 2, quick draw grip, balanced stock, tactical laser, and then the rapid fire mod. And optionally, you can also change this to the Dragon's Breath. Jumping into Richtofen, the Maelstrom just makes light work of absolutely everything, but you'll want to ADS and then press left on your D-pad or whatever prompt there is on your HUD. It gives you this tack stance aim, which makes the crosshair extremely small, making the shots a lot more accurate. And as you can see, starting off with the shoulder pads here, we are just absolutely shredding Richtofen here, and there's no doubt that this is the absolute best weapon to run in the entire game for these boss fights. With Cryo Freeze as well, it takes out the Commando Klauses with absolute ease. But when there are 0 zombies in the arena and it's just Richtofen, you can see that with the Maelstrom, it just makes so much light work of him that that health bar, it just shreds. If you combine this with a gobblegum like Free Fire or stock option, then you should be able to shred him without ever needing to reload the gun. This is the advice I'd give across any of the Richtofen boss fights. The moment he turns into the normal Richtofen, you want to immediately Ether Shroud and just follow him around the map, shooting him with the Maelstrom. You can see that we're getting about 329 damage, and what's great is that the damage drop off is actually really non-existent here, where even when he's really far around the arena, he is still getting hit for about 329 for quite a distance before it drops to 294. But just by how rapid shotgun is when you equip it with double tap and then the rapid fire as well, it is just so quick. More chances than not, Richtofen will return down after doing his air raid strike, where his health bar isn't completely down to the point where he's going to disappear. You're going to have to partly play this by being extremely safe, hiding behind pillars and just getting shots on him when you can. However, you can also just hide behind all of the cover and just take down zombies until you get the Ether Shroud back again. But once he disappears, it is an absolute cakewalk to take out all the zombies, because this thing, any zombie that gets in front of you with a Maelstrom is just straight deletion. And once your Ether Shroud is charged back, he'll come back, and hopefully within one single phase, you'll be able to shred him enough that he'll fly away, becoming immune with zombie spawning again, so you can then finish the job on the 3rd phase, and the Maelstrom is just so good. Moving on to SAM, the Maelstrom is also, in my opinion, one of the best weapons you can use against her, but we are changing something slightly in the loadout, because there is something something very bugged right now that doesn't quite make sense. For the loadout, we're keeping it exactly the same with the CHF barrel, Ranger foregrip, extended mag 2, quick draw grip, balance stock, and tactical laser. But for fire mods, we're actually putting on the 12 gauge slugs, because usually the Maelstrom would do about 300 to 400 per shot to SAM, but here with the slugs on, we're getting 3,900 damage a shot, making our health bar shred damage so much quicker than it normally should, as by nature of the design of the boss fight, it is a bullet sponge. Like, you're going to be taking a little bit of time here to really shred her health down. However, with this, it just shreds so much quicker than any other weapon that you can beat this boss fight in about 6 minutes using this. Throughout the various phases, there's also the SAM trials, and if there's any weapon that you want to be able to take out zombies to perform that trial efficiently, then this is the weapon to do it. But yeah, it is currently insanely strong right now against SAM. I don't know how much longer the slugs will work like they do right now, because according to the in-game stats, this should not be doing this much damage, and it's nowhere near as good against normal zombies. If you're specifically using it just to take out SAM in the boss fight, then yeah, you definitely want to put slugs on this weapon. If the Maelstrom isn't your cup of tea, then the second best weapon in my opinion to take down either boss fights in this game is the DM10 Marksman rifle. I'm really surprised by this, but it is able to do 6,000 damage per shot. When this gun is pack-a-punched, it gets a binary trigger, allowing it to be almost fully auto. It just depends how fast you can tap the trigger down. There is quite a bit of recoil, but combined with that and double tap, you're able to put in some insane damage very, very quickly, making this a really viable weapon to use. Sure, it doesn't shoot as quick as the Maelstrom, but you are seeing how quick the health bar is shredding on Uber Richtofen there. It popped both of the shoulder pads extremely quickly, and then shooting the middle, you can just see it is absolutely shredding. Combined with our augments here, where non-crit does double damage, you're able to do 6,000 damage very easily and efficiently without having to really aim properly. A huge benefit to this weapon as well is that it has a 45 round magazine with the correct loadout compared to the Maelstrom of only 28 shots, and you don't fire quite as quickly, so you've got a lot more ammo to play with. Going over to the second part of Richtofen, and you can see that it absolutely shreds through his health. Like, it is insane. You're able to do nearly 2,000 damage a shot. The only slight downside is that the recoil is pretty high on this weapon, so you're going to need to be accurate. If you're playing on controller, you will need to pull your right stick down just a little bit as you're shooting to make sure you stay accurate. But as long as you hit about 90% of the shots while you're shrouded, you should have no problem getting Richtofen to disappear in that immune phase. And with the zombies spawning, of course, you'll have enough to be able to recharge your Ether Shroud back, and you're able to just rinse and repeat. And this is such a fun gun. It's so strong. It's so good. Highly recommend you run this, and also put cryo freeze on it, of course. And then when taking it up against the SAM boss fight, it actually does more damage per shot than the Maelstrom. Of course, it's not firing quite as quick, but it is doing 4,000 non-crit damage, which is absolutely fantastic. And when she goes in the middle like this, all you need to do is just simply look up in the air and just spam. You don't even need to ADS. You're always going to be hitting there. Later on, when she does her laser attack and you can shoot those red core parts, you're doing nearly 5,000 damage per shot. So you easily be able to take down 2 of them in a single attempt, if not 3. Jumping into the loadout, I ran it with the Kevlar Microflex, the suppressor muzzle, CHF barrel, weighted handguard underbarrel, extended mag 2, light stock, steady aim laser, and rapid fire. I was not expecting one of the new weapons added with the Season 5 Battle Pass to be anywhere near meta, but when it comes to these boss fights, it's actually really dang good. And a big shout out to fellow Zombies creator MZC, who was the first person, I believe, to have discovered that the AUG is actually really good against Richtofen. In terms of damage and fire rate, it is very similar to the AMAX as well as the AS Vow, but it feels like this is like the perfect combination of both of those weapons. It's got 120 rounds per magazine, so you've got a lot to play with. You can be literally sprinting around the map, sliding around. You've got really good ADS speed as well, and you get very consistent damage across the board, where with Uber Richtofen, you're getting 952 no matter where you're hitting him on the body. With that fire rate, you're pumping in a decent amount of damage. You can see that health bar, when you manage to get a moment to just unload a full magazine on him, it just shreds and shreds. And the same can be said during the second part, where Richtofen is in his jetpack phase, where you can see that health health bar just absolutely shredding. And again, if you had something like stock option or free fire, then you would just have an absolutely amazing opportunity to just go ham on him. During the jetpack phase, you're able to do 888 damage per bullet. If you get really close to him, you'll be able to do 1111. During the final phase here against Richtofen, he just stood no chance whatsoever. He got absolutely wrecked here with the AUG. And it's the same result here with SAM, where if you're underneath her, you can do 1111 damage when she's spinning around her energy mines, which takes a good chunk of health. Once you're able to get access to those red critical spots, you're doing 1300 damage per bullet. It's just really good and really consistent. Jumping into the loadout, and full credit to MZC for figuring out this was a really good meta loadout for zombies here. You want the monolithic suppressor. Mine is glitched, so I don't have it unlocked at the moment for some reason. The reinforced barrel, Ranger foregrip, extended mag 2, ergonomic riser, balanced pad, fast motion laser, and rapid fire. Very, very important that you have rapid fire on, otherwise this gun will not be as lethal as what you saw in this video. Now, another weapon I did not expect to be meta for the boss fights here is actually the GPR Assault Rifle, where up against Sam here, it is actually doing slightly more damage than what the AUG was doing. We've got an identical magazine, but it's able to do 1200 damage during the spinning attack. And it might just be one of the best ARs to use in zombies right now, especially when it comes to this particular boss fight. It's just really, really good. Moving on to Richtofen, however, in the first phase as Uber Richtofen, you do just over 1000 damage per bullet, and you can see when you get a really good line of sight on him with a full magazine ready to go, you're able to shred a really good chunk of health. It just feels like a really solid AR to use for these boss fights. Like, you're very mobile, you've got really quick reload speed, good damage. I think at the end of the day, it really will come down to personal preference and what AR you want to run here. Considering the GPR was one of the launch weapons, you very likely have it fully maxed out with all attachments, so it might be a really viable choice for you. Jumping into that loadout, I ran it with the Kevlar Microflex, suppressor muzzle, long barrel, lightweight foregrip, extended mag 2, quick draw grip, fast motion laser, and recoil springs as the fire mod, but I would probably swap this out for rapid fire. The final weapon, and without doubt the strongest weapon in the game against both of these boss fights, but unfortunately just not going to be at my number one because of the fire rate, is the AMR Mod Sniper Rifle. Up against Uber Richtofen, I just could not believe how much damage I was doing. If you hit a non-crit, you're doing 9,400 damage per shot. You get 16 rounds in a magazine. The fire rate on this thing is absolutely bonkers, but unfortunately you just don't quite have enough ammo in a magazine for it to be like an insane weapon to the point where it's a no-brainer, you have to use this. However, it is still very fun to use, and it's so powerful as well that it is extremely viable. I've seen a ton of people use the AMR Mod 4, and I can absolutely see why. You can get Richtofen down within about 2 minutes or so because of how strong this weapon is. Like, it's genuinely bonkers. And when Richtofen comes out of being Uber Richtofen and flies around in his jetpack form, again shrouded, you're doing 4,200 damage to him, which is actually insane. The only problem is, because of how fast it shoots, it's also quite hard to control from a far distance trying to shoot in the same spot straight. This is why in this video I am recommending it, because it is so goddamn strong, but it is a pretty difficult weapon to use. There is a bit of skill involved there to make sure that you always have your aim on point so you don't miss any of the shots whilst you're shrouded, because unlike the other weapons that are very easy to control, it is very easy to suddenly be off your shot and to miss Richtofen when you really need it. If you're pinpoint accurate, then my gosh, you can wipe Richtofen's faces out extremely quick with this thing, and it is so much fun to use. And I would only say I'd recommend this for Richtofen. I wouldn't recommend it for Sam, just because of how small the magazine size is and the fire rate. You're better off running something a little bit different there for Sam. Going into the loadout, I ran it with the Kevlar Microflex, the muzzle brake muzzle, reinforced barrel, Marksman pad, extended mag 2, quick draw grip, light riser, and the rapid fire mod.